Okay, everybody, we have the third round of the tournament, and it's a round of 16, and we actually have ExcellenteEleccion, Team EE, going up against Griefers2, which is a team that probably with this name you haven't heard of yet, but they started in the alpha as Team Paper, the name derived from paper beating rock. That was the explanation that I got back then. They joined up with 3D Max, later on joined Gamers2, and therefore Griefers2 is a bit of an homage to that old nickname of the team. They are a full Polish lineup, and we're going to see what they can do against Team EE. Both of the teams, therefore, with a lot of experience. Both of them have been to offline events, and this is going to be a really, really strong match. EE probably slightly favored in this setup, but again, Griefers2, they have the experience, they have the skills to take them down here. Sky Temple is our first map, and I'm, of course, once again with a Tetcher heading into a draft where we see good old Dehaka, unfortunately, banned out.
Yeah, and with the Dehaka banned out, we also see the Sylvanas banned out. No one wants to deal with that pushing potential. And you mentioned EE, very much considered a lot to be a super team of free agents coming together to try and qualify for this, along with a couple other of the teams still in this qualifier. Like you said, Griefers2, very familiar name and a mostly familiar lineup, which is just super nostalgic here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have been part of the Heroes community from Alpha onwards, you definitely know the guys that are playing in here. So they have the first the first pick now, and that could once again result in us seeing a bit of global mobility, but also for the longest time, Muradin early on was a preferred hero to pick. ETC is very strong with this. When we're talking about like the last few weeks, it's, as we see here, Malfurion who has seen high priority. Like, ever since Blizzard started to buff him a little bit, he's the most preferred healer that we have, probably together with Brightwing. You can always make an argument of Brightwing offering a bit more utility on the map where global presence has a big advantage for your team. So, with this being said, global presence has been secured for EE now as well, with an Abathur for Soak, and with good old ETC making an appearance and the potential stage death, of course.
Yeah, a lot of global instantly secured there from EE, but once again, leaving supports open to be banned out, so potential support choke from Griefers2. We'll keep an eye on that. Griefers2 also probably want to secure themselves a tank quite early, so Johanna or Muradin, to prevent EE from getting a target ban on that. So I would, if I had to guess, probably a Muradin Falstad pick for Griefers2, the Falstad to try and counteract the Abathur. Nope, it's a Tracer Tassadar. Fair enough.
I actually don't really think they need to necessarily go for a tank here, because we have the potential to ban one out. But if you think about the map, you can play Tyrael here easily, you can play Muradin, you still have the option to go into the Johanna, and you even could drop a Stitches if you wanted. So I'm not sure, I don't think they were really too afraid of that. Whatever they pick of those is going to be fine for them. I'm not even sure if EE is going to try and ban one of them out, to be honest with you. I mean, right now, the Tracer already looking really strong. And the setup is... think about this setup, add an Illidan and add a Tyrael, and we're back to the last Team Liquid game that we casted.
Yeah, just a bit, only with an Abathur added in for the opposing team this time. EE, probably I still think banning out a tank for them would be good here, so I still believe the Muradin or the Johanna would make sense.
It depends a little bit what EE wants to play with that Abathur. Because that's still one of the things that we have to think about too. Do they go for an Illidan composition here? Were they planning on maybe getting a Tracer in here as well? We have seen Tracer in Abathur compositions, which of course has now been shut down by Griefers2 just simply picking it away. But we could still see that happen. We have talked about potential Zeratul plays a little bit more. We've seen him in the last qualifier. With an Abathur, he becomes even more dangerous, since he can just simply head Zeratul, try and go in for an early kill. And they go for a Muradin. So again, with a clap, auto attack damage is slowed down. That could already lean a bit towards a potential Illidan pick for them here.
Definitely could. And you did mention the fact that the Abathur could have been put on the Tracer. Another hero who we're seeing Abathur getting added to a fair amount these days is the Zeratul. So this could be that Zeratul you were looking for. Dropping a Void Prism onto the two support heroes can really limit Tracer's options. Rounding out the Brightwing, so we see a tank choke from EE, a support choke from Griefers2, both teams trying to limit the other's options.
Yeah, EE, let's see. So, again, I would be highly in favor of them either playing something along the lines of Illidan or Zeratul. And, I mean, in theory, you can also like try and think about Greymane again. Greymane doesn't really have the same presence in drafts anymore than he had before. We see him every now and then being thrown in. And if you have an Abathur there for the copy, and also, of course, that you can do a lot. Jaina copy would be strong as well, but they start things off with Liming. Still need their healer. Oriel would be very nice with Liming. So that is a good option for them now.
Yeah, could work with them. Like you said, the Liming will work pretty well in their favor. They could also run the Rhaegar just for the extra healing. We did see a little bit of Karazim in gold in the Gold Cup, so there's potential for that as well if that's the way they want to go. Most of the supports that are remaining will actually work for them in this scenario. There's
and it's a Rhaegar, actually. Okay, so Grand Paquette is going to be on Rhaegar here. And how is Griefers2 going to play this? Tanks again. What's available to them would still be the Johanna. We've seen her a lot recently. And we could see them go into that Tyrael. So Tyrael together with the Tassadar, a lot of shields that you have. The Sanctification is already going to be great. If you play with Tyrael, you are likely to also add another hero that you can just drive the fight. We've seen that happen with Illidan earlier on when Team Liquid was playing a similar composition. Nearly the same composition, actually, against Pushek. And there is the Illidan. Okay, so that must result in a Tyrael. At least I would be shocked if it isn't. And it is a Zarya.
Okay, I like that too. That's really good.
I'm not sure if that really beats the Sank, though.
I agree it doesn't beat the Sank, but I think it gives them a little bit more damage, and it gives them a lot more targets to stay, and it doesn't force them to not chase. When you have Sank, you're limited to one area. With Zarya, you still get the objective control and the boss fight potential with the expulsion zone, but you give a bit more chase potential because you can actually follow your team. So
I see the reasoning behind it, the extra shields and Illidan. I understand what they're doing here, but I must admit that I personally would have much more preferred a Tyrael in this setup. Not that Zarya can't work, just personal preference at this point. But this is definitely one of those comps that is incredibly sustainable because you have this many shields. Zarya then as the only tank, more or less, basically turning Illidan into a tank because he has so much, so much sustain. And EE is using the option of Zeratul. As I said earlier, if you have the Abathur symbiote, you can make a lot work here. Can make arguments that maybe with this setup, Jaina would have even been better, but the damage output of Liming is probably a little bit more reliable, and if you get a kill, you get the cooldown resets. Interesting setup for both sides, guys. And again, with the chibi choice right over there, the prophetic skills have been shown once more. So we have that Zarya. Let's jump into the game. EE is going to play versus Griefers2 on our first map, Sky Temple. Game number 1, everybody, in the best of 3 series at the HGC 2017 qualifier for Europe. We're having ExcellenteEleccion going up against Griefers2, the team name of the blue team, bit of an homage to the former days when they were still part of the organization Gamers2, the Polish team here with Shichu on Zarya, Kreku on Tracer, Nika on Tassadar, Yuva on Illidan, and Leo from Korea on Malfurion. It's a bit of a nostalgic throwback to the early alpha and beta days of the game, whereas we have to the right side of the map EE, the All-Star team with Zarmini on Zeratul, Celium on Abathur, Grand Paquette on Rhaegar, BKB on ETC, and Zelia is playing Li Ming. I'm Khaldor, with me is Tetcher, as we're going to bring you the coverage here in game number 1 between these two European top teams.
And starting with the coverage, we immediately see Yuva going all of the ham. He tries to take down BKB, but finally pulling back after reaching about the 2/3 of the way through the map point. Zed decides to help his team in pushing that top lane. Starting with the talents, we are seeing... Oh, Leo, that's a lot of damage. Starting with the talents, we are seeing maximum charge from the Zarya, not going with the grenade build that we're seeing most of the time, as she wants to try and keep her allies alive as much as possible, and the unending hatred coming in for Illidan.
I like that a lot. So Unending Hatred has already been taken, a bit of a different build. Again, Juve is a player that plays a lot of Illidan. He is a huge fan of the Hunt, which we still doubt to see in the game. Normally, when we have team fight environments, he goes for the Metamorphosis unless they draft a composition that really caters towards it. Illidan loses Zarya down here at the bottom of the map already, though, and we were questioning her a bit in the draft. We will have to see how much she can contribute to it. We kind of expected the Tyrael to come in, but the shields that Zarya will drop out and that range damage can be something that will give them a lot of value. But so far, Zeratul is the melee assassin that had a bit of more of an impact thanks to that kill that we just saw.
Zeratul just has huge roaming potential, especially with Abathur. This is what we see most times. They are paired together, where Zeratul just wanders around the map and tries to pick off heroes, and Zarya, the hero without really an escape, so she was the perfect target here for Zeratul. He was able to get the kill, but right now going to try and look for another angle to maybe make a play onto the speed, but right now with all 5 heroes here for G2, they're just going to clear it up and just make sure that they have control of top while Cillium soaks bot.
Cillium with the extra experience, using his body to soak XP while he helps out with the symbiote. We have so far a trade in temples, but with Illidan now moving up to the top lane, it seems like at least for now Griefers2 is able to get a couple of the shots over here. Zeratul moved into the mid lane instead and was trying to take some of the mid temple. So the lead in experience on the side of Team EE, also of course thanks to Abathur himself, that drops the extra talent a little bit earlier into their hands, which will see us again with the combo slash after Warble Blades. The changes in the builds and talents for Zeratul allow him to make big plays way earlier in the game, especially since his portal back is now coming into play on level 7 already. So yeah, the wormhole is a huge factor for that.
That should help out pretty nicely. Zarya having a little bit of trouble right now. 1 in the bot lane because she's being pressured so much, and 2 in terms of her talents. Her level 1 maximum charge talent is not really working in her favor at the moment because she spent a little bit of time dead and is right now having to deal with the fact that EE are sort of dancing around her, so she's not able to get as much stack as she wants. She currently is on 5 out of 150 for maximum charge, and she really wants to get that stacked as quick as possible.
Yuva at the top lane in the meantime, where we have that stacking coming to play that you talked about, is already claiming another camp. And they had tried to get some pressure onto the top lane, where Kreko is already starting to threaten the fort here. So we have, yeah, Zarmani going in with the help of Abathur. And that's exactly the big danger that always exudes from having a Zeratul on the opponent team. If he jumps in and you have the Abathur to symbiote at him right away, there's a lot of kill potential that you have with this. But with 3 heroes at the top lane, there's very little risk to Zarmani at this point. The fort goes down, there's a good kill there. Pressure applied to Leo, and that could actually end up in a kill because we have all of a sudden everyone jumping in from behind, but Zeratul is already down. They still secure the kill on Malfurion though.
They're trying to chase down Grab Paqueta though. Yuva still giving chase to Grab Paqueta. He does have the extra movement speed. He heals himself up. It's not enough. Yuva chasing down all the way, guaranteeing that kill. That is 2 kills for 1 in favor of EE here. Themselves in a good position, especially seeing as that Mercenary Camp is still pushing the bot lane.
In the meantime, though, we have ExcellenteEleccion, as you said, at the bot lane, pushing with the Siege Giant camp. That had a ton of value. We're looking at the map in which the objective attacks structures directly. The more hit points you can take off these structures without actually using the objective, the better for you than in the long run. It's one of the reasons why Abathur went into Mule as the level 7 talent, because he just wants to repair the structures as much as he can, which will just sacrifice additional objective shots from the opponent. That is a pretty big deal right now, as we are seeing the team starting to fight over the temple at the bot lane. So a very interesting setup here once again, as ExcellenteEleccion is starting to move in. Abathur soaking experience at the top with his body. He doesn't have his level 10, he doesn't have the copy available. So right now EE has to be very, very cautious approaching this fight at the bot lane.
Yeah, ExcellenteEleccion trying to make the play, but Griefers2 putting themselves in a very strong position to try and defend it. But BKB, great, really strong engage there to try and zone away Nika and Kreku. But Yuva putting too much pressure onto the backline to allow that to last any longer. So Griefers2 will get all the shots from this temple.
And keep in mind that Yuva was also one of the players that, always a semi-professional player, actually was part of Misfits at some point, helping them out with some strategy during offline events like Gamescom, for example, just chipping in opinions on the draft. So there's a lot of players with a ton of experience and smart decision making when it comes to the drafting on this particular team right now. But EE is extremely strong. We don't call them an all-star team for no reason, and these guys just rotate around and just look how much they can actually gain with this. They have level 10. They go into the mid lane, they drop a structure, they go up to the top with a level 10 advantage, completely exploit the fact that there's no heroic ability for the Polish team, and drop another fort, making the next temple phase already incredibly powerful since it will attack the keeps directly.
It's perfect because bot fort will go down very quickly. There's going to be no defense available for that. So exactly what you said will happen here. Here come the level 10s for Griefers2 though. No hunt, sad times, but it's what we expected. Grab Paqueta. Also sad times, getting picked off. Zarmani taking huge damage from the keep. Tracer coming in to punish. There's the Void Prism. Not enough. Pulse Bomb takes him down. Now Yuva moving on to Zalia, trying to pick up yet another kill. And I think BKB was trying to mosh pit there, but it was interrupted.
Yeah, that's another kill against Zelia. So right now, 3 kills already. BKB is actually getting away here. They don't want to waste more time. They might not actually have seen where exactly he went. Did decide that it was just worth it going for boss instead of wasting time to try and kill ETC here too. So that's an opportunity they have. And just look how all of a sudden the experience is nearly the same. A structural advantage exists, of course, still for the team in red. But this is one of those dangers that you run into when you are facing an Illidan composition. Once the forts are down, he has a lot of room to play with and chase down a team. And once you lose the first hero, you're just going to get wrecked, which is exactly what we saw happening after Grandpa Ket on Reka was picked off.
It wasn't BKB didn't actually try to mosh pit. Like I said there, he was just Eing, making sure he got a little bit of health back. Grabbing those mercenary caps, they will not be in time to try and defend against the boss. But his team is. They are trying to work that down with Li Ming and Zeratul. Zeratul now leaving Li Ming to do it, so they can at least maybe try and put some fight onto that mid-temple, while bot is fully controlled by Griefers2 here.
Also, we have, right now, as you can see, ExcellenteEleccion completely letting the boss go. They say, yes, it's going to do some damage, but it's a boss that was taken before the 7-minute mark. It's not going to have a massive effect. We can't just simply let it run into the towers, and it will then just completely disappear. Whereas we have Grandpa Ket at the top lane, he's going to soak a few of the shots, and then we can still take fights here. They have that even experience, so even though they lost a few heroes in that last engagement, they can now just simply move back a bit. They have even Zeratul rotating down to the bot lane, so they're playing around the opponent right now, not taking fights that they're not sure of.
Yeah, they're just trying to guarantee as many shots as possible without putting themselves in a situation where they have to fight, because thanks to that last fight, they realize it's really difficult to try and fight this guy to comp, and the reason they have the XP lead is thanks to that Abathur, and the fact they were able to avoid fights for so long. So Zeratul will grab most of the remaining shots, but this doesn't look like we're going to see any more rotation to try and prevent that from Griefers2, instead grabbing their Bruiser camp and beginning to clear mid and push top.
One of the things that I also want to point out here while we're talking about this a bit, you probably heard us say on talk about like the distance to safety, and if you're a bit newer to your heroes, you might not quite be aware of what that means. It basically just says that heroes like a Tracer, and especially Illidan, they thrive on the distance that you have to retreat behind a wall or back to your fort or keep. So in the early game, the distance between your own wall and the wall of your opponent at the 2 forts in the middle is rather short, so you can't really chase for a long time. If we're talking about fights that are around one of those temples, it's the same thing. You can safely retreat and Illidan doesn't get a lot of value. Now we're in a situation in which all of the forts on the map are already gone, which means that we have objectives that are being fought over, and you start to lose the battle, and Illidan composition can chase you down for a very, very long time and secure kills and snowball it against you. So this is exactly what Griefers2 is building their entire composition around. This is the time where they really get a power spike, because now, if they start to win a fight, if they start to control it, they can completely clean house and get a massive, massive lead.
Khaldor, I heard you like sustain. Tracer running the leeching rounds here instead of the bullet spray. She now has leeching plasma, shields from Zarya, which has Give Me 20, which is very nearly stacked at this point, and her own leeching rounds. Can she die? I don't know. We'll find out at some point, but it's going to be so difficult to take her down.
I mean, Zarmani is going to try. We have a symbiote build for Abathur, so Zeratul is going to get quite some value. He will have the slows available to himself as well after level 16. That alone should give them a bit more of a pressure play against Tracer, which is, I feel, one of the reasons why we even see the adjustment on the side of Grievous2. But you're totally right, the adjustment is there. Zeratul will try to use his Vorpal Blades and also the Wormhole to just always go in, poke a little bit, and with the help of Abathur, just try to pressure her as much as he can. He even committed on level 13 now, though, to Spell Shield, because he's just simply saying, listen, this ult on Tracer, and also, of course, the rest that we are seeing here with the lineup, the Storms and everything else with the particle grenades, I need to do something against that. If Tracer can blow me up first, then all the pressure that I can put on her is not going to matter.
Yeah, and he's taking the Spell Shield over the Stealth Shield that Zeratul can get, due to the fact that Tracer does also have those Tracer rounds, so it's going to be stealth for a little bit less time, meaning that there's less chance of him keeping that shield up, so instead the ability shield makes more sense. For now, though, they are trying to force Griefers2 back. EDC gets a good engage onto Illidan, but friend or foe gets him out of there. Clone from Abathur just being negated, not getting any value here right now.
But EE is on level 16. That's a talent advantage. And they're buying time here. Celium is just trying to get a bit of damage in. They get shots down here at the bottom. They still have that lead, and that extra talent is a big deal. Zarmony jumping out already. ETC moving in. Goes for the mosh pit against one target. Is that enough? Already the Void Prism in the back. Stasis being used as the Iceborg is on. But we have a kill on each side. Malfurion down and Zeratul eliminated. A lot of sustain already gone on the side of Griefers2 as they're trying to disengage.
Breaku taking huge damage, he rewinds out, he finally gets picked off thanks to the Amber for AoE, and the damage is huge! Yuva getting blown up by Xaylia. That all came down to the Calamity resets right at the end with the help from Abathur. I was sure they just had no chance there, but that final engage, thanks to Xaylia, turned it all on its head.
Yeah, and then came the resets, and it's just like bling, boom, boom,
he had
bling,
no matter
bling,
at the end. He used like every ability he had available to him.
Yeah, this is the moment where we just can like roll your head over the keyboard and you're guaranteed kills. Like, you are hitting one of the keys that you need. Right now they were all clustered up, and that was just perfect for them. So yeah, with Malfurion, of course, that was one of the big deals, by the way. Malfurion not able to use a silence, him dying very early, that took a lot of the sustain away that they really need in this setup. Great play there, so a lot of aggression, and now a bit of momentum going for them. A lot actually, like 2-level lead. It was also the talent advantage that they had. And now all of the lanes are getting pressure. This is perfect for ExcellenteEleccion.
The talents evening up though has added game train to Zarya, so even more shields for Illidan and Traitor, assuming they're grouped up when it goes down. But not having that when they needed it most is a huge issue. So Zarmony, nice W there. But for now, they're going to put some pressure onto the top lane, trading it for a boss. Griefers2 attempting to grab the boss while ExcellenteEleccion, sorry, are going to attempt to kill it off. Illidan going to finish that off and then be back the rest of his team. The Mines attempting to stop the ports, but the keep's already gone. It's very unlikely that EE will try and end the game here. But the question is, can G2 prevent the escape and try and pick something off? But it doesn't look like they can. Leo not able to demount anyone. Oh, hello, Yuva!
Yep, there we go. Level 19.5.
Oh,
Void Prison and goodbye. It's a very good trade, by the way. If you already have, like, as you can see, 2 lanes are currently pushing in against them. Someone has to defend against the catapults here, which means the boss, the best that you get out of it is you kill the keep at the bot lane. That's the ideal scenario, and that's not going to happen. I mean, they defend, you can tell that they have... We're still only 14 minutes in. Please keep that in mind. We have level 20 nearly on the board, but it's only a 14-minute game. This is not 20-25 minutes into the match where the boss is just completely wrecking that lane and eliminating the structures. So we are close to level 20. They traded boss for keep, and that is a trade in favor of Team EE, and they are trying to get that final talent, the Storm talent, and then end the game through the objective.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, but we are seeing a little bit of harass from Yuva. 20 has literally just been hit by EE here, so they can just turn this around. I'm not entirely sure why G2 are trying to pressure this so hard. There's the mosh pit, catches the Zarya and the Tracer here. Kreku still alive though, so is Shifu. He drops his shield, they try to turn it onto ETC, but wow, Shifu gets annihilated.
Zarya down, Tracer eliminated, Tassadar in trouble, and this is the end of Malfurion. His silence interrupted the mosh pit, but now the game is completely turned on his head again. Tassadar is eliminated, and this is Yuva just frantically trying to kill someone. No chance. Great play here by EE. They have 12 kills against 6 and can now simply just move through the map. Don't even go for those temples anymore. I mean, their biggest problem is right now, how do we end the game? Do we kill the core by attacking it, or do we just take both of the temples and doing this way? Right now, they take the lead in the series. Impressive play. Very entertaining match by both teams, but at the end it's EE who takes the lead in the best of 3 series here in the 3rd round of the HGC Qualifier number 2. The second game, everybody, starts, and we have Tomb of the Spider Queen. Well, we have the draft starting. Tomb of the Spider Queen is the map. Malfurion banned by Griefers2, so the Polish team banning him out, whereas EE is going for a ban on ETC here. They have the lead into the series, and on this map, they actually start things off with a quick pick on Tychus.
with the tank and the sports band out. Not too surprising to see Griefers2. Whoa, okay, that's slightly surprising. I was about to say not surprising to see them picking up a tank. A bit surprising to see them picking up 2 tanks in this particular format.
Now, first of all, if you see Johanna, then we still have, like, when you watch BlizzCon, the one thing that really stood out is that we had a huge fights happening over ETC and Muradin. And the reason for that is simple. They're 2 of the strongest tanks right now in the meta because they are also the 2 CC tanks where you have control spells, where you have stuns available to you. But one of the tanks that definitely has started to come back a lot into the drafting process is Johanna. And we also always talk about her strength on Tomb of the Spider Queen, where you get the extra AoE thanks to her Condemn, so she gains more value. But we have also seen her on a lot of other maps and having like a big role there, especially with Brax's Holdout being introduced to the game and it also being a map that is highly focused on wave clear. Johanna gets added value. We see nearly the same thing happening on Infernal Shrines. So it explains a bit of the priority that Griefers2 give her at this point. And with the wave clear already starting for Griefers2, EE is reacting with Azul. So they can use Azul now to rotate between 2 lanes. And as they already picked up the Thrall, pretty big commitment to wave clear here as well, they have a dedicated solo laner, and they have the rotations happening together with Zul, which is exactly where you want Zul to be.
And Griefers2 with a interesting response, banning out the Morales here. So the potential for the extra attack speed onto Tychus or the Thrall has been denied here. So banning out supports when they haven't picked theirs yet. EE banning out the Gul'dan, preventing that extra damage. But now Griefers2 can pick up whatever support they want, leave EE with whatever they want. But the Morales ban is... They definitely expected something.
What I like is that with them banning Morales, they have an idea of what they want to draft already. So they're currently looking at this and they're saying, hey, we're not going to pick anything that allows us to jump into the back line. Oftentimes, when we're talking about Thrall right now, the argument in favor of the Earthquake is that you get that as the standard talent, you get so much value out of it. You get survivability, you get, of course, damage out, and you can keep your opponent in place so that you can capitalize on spells like the Blizzard even more, like Ring of Frost, anything that really requires an opponent to stay in an area. Thrall usually wants to use Sundering, on the other hand, if you're up against something like Morales. So in this case, he's more of a playmaker. But in the setup that we're seeing here, Griefers2 just basically says, if they pick Morales, we have nothing, or we will have nothing, that is able to jump into the backline and to pressure her. And if you don't have that, then Morales is amazing. She really starts to completely suck if you have heroes that can completely leech onto her, put her under constant pressure. You won't be able to heal anything. And with this support choke that is being created here right now, they just basically force them into either a Rhaegar or a Brightwing at this point. And they completely are transparent in the sense that they're saying we're not going to have any hero that jumps deep into your backline. They still feel it should take a solo laner here. They can play the Sylvanas there if they need to, but we could still see something along the lines of an Alarak. Not quite sure if it's going to be a Chen there, but that would leave us with Sylvanas being the only real push hero on their end.
It would also, if they pick Chen, give them really the only real damage being their Sylvanas, other than like a little bit of Zarya. EE going to be grabbing up that Muradin pretty quickly here. They still need to support, like you said, Brightwing or Rhaegar are the most likely choices here. And like you said, with Griefers2 not likely picking anything that's going to jump into the backline, I think Rhaegar is a bit more likely because Brightwing can polymorph anyone who leaps in, whereas Rhaegar just gives them a bit more spam healing. But they do choose the Brightwing.
Brightwing taken for the support here. I mean, it's a very solid setup in the sense that you have stuns, you have lockdown, there's a Bone Prison, there's a Stormbolt, you have the Wolf. It can lock someone in place, then Tychus can capitalize on it with the damage. The wave clear on the team is very nice with Zul as long as they get that rotation going. Griefers2, they have the heals on Oriel. They're lacking a cleanse here, which can become a bit of an issue if a lot of these lockdowns are being stacked. But they have very nice shields with the Zarya. They have also Sylvanas, which helps them to push with the objective a lot harder. But when it comes to the rotation, they need to get a bit more damage out. I could see a Vala for them, which has the wave clear and a bit more on-point target damage. But so far in the games today, Vala hasn't really played that huge role that she usually did. But a bit more range damage on their side, even with Zarya already in the lineup, would probably be nice.
Yeah, I would agree. Nara, I think, could actually still fit into the comp for them. They go with the Falstad. So a little bit of extra poke. They still have good on the rotations. And it does look like they could leave Falstad in the solo lane. They could leave Zarya in the solo lane, but also Sylvanas. They have plenty of options of who they want to leave down there.
I like Falstad because one of the things that he counters out very nicely is Thrall's Earthquake. Earthquake has become the standard talent to take on Thrall, and if you can force an opponent in a fight on a certain area, you can really wreck with Earthquake. We've seen so many battles where there was pressure on Thrall, he drops the Earthquake, the team fight completely tilts in favor of the Thrall team, and they are able to just like take it. Falstad with the Mighty Gus is able to just push the opponent out of it. You can disengage and you just say like, alright, that cooldown is already gone. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And I like the pickup for that particular reason. So, Kuhl's Spider Queen is the map. EE is in the lead. Let's see if Griefers2 can turn it around and force game number 3, or if this is going to be the last map of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, ExcellenteEleccion playing against Griefers2. Game number 2, everyone. It could be the last map today. We have to the left side our Polish team, Napierdolaj, with Shiku on Zarya, Kreko on Falstad, Nika on Sylvanas, Juve on Johanna, and Leo from Poland on Oriel. To the right side of the map, EE with the lead in the series. They have Zarmany on Thrall this time. Probably going to be at the bot lane here, as a dedicated solo laner. Cilium for the rotations on Zul. We have Garampakete on Brightwing. We're seeing currently BNKB at the front line with Murden playing the Dwarf here. And Zelia with a range damage. He's playing Tychus. So this is going to be a pretty important match for both of these, of course. And we have a wingman taken. Could be a full build on the Lightning Rod again, which we have seen a couple of times. This is usually not the map where you say, God, I need to bribe a couple of mercenaries. It's a nice thing to add, of course, but a lot of players that have used that talent in the past went full Lightning Rod.
Yeah, there are 3 bribable mercenaries on this entire map, and one of them is your opponent's Bruiser Camp. Another talent that's worth having a little look at here is the Dream Shot, coming in for Brightwing, so getting that reduced cooldown on her Q. Getting a bit more harassment here.
Yeah, we have the rotation happening now, and as expected, we're seeing Thrall at the bot lane, so Zul is part of the rotation and can burst these waves away, and the Polish team is turning in very quickly. They're basically just saying, like, any kind of gem that we turn in is a gem that we can't do, so smart thinking, I like it.
Yeah, it's an interesting style here. They're just making sure that they get them in, not taking the risk of getting picked up in rotations and losing their gems. It's an okay idea. They're not losing any XP because they're clearing the lane so quickly, so they're losing no gems and no XP. It works.
Exactly. If you have that much wave and you can burst these waves down, you might as well just try and do that, at least as the early game. BKB running straight into 3. Nothing happening, but definitely a bit of a scare moment here for him. Moves back immediately, is like, alright, I found some friends, boys. Rotate back in.
Falstad did actually have to go back there. He was harassed a little bit out of lane by Thrall, so had to be back to base, but he was able to fly back down before he missed too much XP, so not too worried about it.
That's really the thing about Falstad. It's very difficult. It's nearly impossible to actually like properly win a lane against him. You can always fly back in, like be back real quickly, fly in, not lose any of the experience, and be at full health again without even tapping the well. So that's a huge advantage that he has in these situations. You of course burn a cooldown that you need to be careful about on certain maps when it comes to the objective, the timing, but overall it gives them quite a bit of lane sustain.
They're getting focused down. Zelia wanted it, but Zelia pays for it. He went too deep there, took too much damage. Yuva survives, and we are seeing the first blood going over to Griefers2. And they once again get back to the rotation, get back to the turn-ins.
That was actually a smart play on their part. Yeah, they barely saved Johanna. Even if Johanna dies, it's still a trade, and you trade one of the tanks against the damage dealer on your opponent's side, the only real range damage dealer that we have there. So it works out very nicely for them. And Falstad not going into the static shield. We have him with the hammer gains. Actually, this is starting to be an interesting build. I'm actually curious to see how exactly this is going to play out for him. I would personally have expected him to maybe even go for Season Marksman, considering that he gets a lot of stacks, if he wanted to go into an auto-attack focused build, which seems to be the case with the hammer games. Then again, it might just be a tribute to him being on the solo lane, so he wants more early lane sustain in the lane against the Thrall, so that he can heal himself a little bit more.
Yeah, he did actually get forced back again, so yeah, I believe it is definitely just due to him having to sustain. Because being forced back to base twice before the 3-minute mark and having to burn 2 flies to get back and not miss as much XP, you kind of want any kind of sustain at all just to keep yourself in the lane as long as possible.
No, I totally agree. We see that a lot, that Falstad players that are on the solo lane have to go into the talent to get to sustain there. But it's definitely an interesting touch considering that he could have gone into all attacks. Of course, he's not part of the rotation, so he wouldn't get as many stacks as a hero that is included in the rotations there. But that just shows how much versatility you have on Falstad to adapt to certain situations right now.
Right now we're seeing BKB. Was thinking about diving deep for a kill, but with too many heroes here, he doesn't want to get himself caught out, especially since he was already actually lower than Uber at the start of that. Instead, once again, continuing the rotations, letting Xaylia continue to harass onto Shiku.
Yeah, also Zarmani was moving in, that forced Kreku into the mid lane, and yeah, he's still trying to make sure that Zarmani doesn't turn in his gems, because that would very soon then result in a Webweaver wave. But level 7 talents are very close now, and we have, besides that, also with the Arcane Barrage, the range on the Flare. So Brightwing going into a little bit more of a damage-focused build. Yeah, gets a lot of wave there with that, of course, too, and a bit of a safety net as well. So level 7 talents, any moment now. But pretty nice game here thus far. Both of the teams still fighting over the rotation.
Yeah, with those level 7 talents you were talking about, we're seeing the Iron Forge momentum, of course, for the Muradin, very standard here. Quarterback for Tychus, followed through for Thrall. Very standard talents so far. Raphael's Blessing for the Zul. Brightwing does pick the cleanse, she was thinking about it, maybe thinking about the Mystified, for example, but the cleanse is what you want, especially when you're against that Johanna, when you want to try and catch someone out. Or even against Zarya, if you can cleanse quick enough, you can get them through the expulsion zone.
Falstad went into 7 on the charged up, so I think the original idea was really to go for the static shield as well. It's one of the reasons, we talked about that briefly, why you would go into the wingman, since it also increases the lightning rod damage. But in this case, making that adjustment. It's an interesting build for this map and against this lineup though. It's usually something that I mostly see players take when they are facing a Zeratul and Illidan, any kind of like melee assassin that goes really deep, whereas we are here seeing mostly Thrall being such a threat. But the early objective that we now have on the side of the Polish team could give them the lead that they are hoping for here. They have the Sylvanas, they need to get some value.
We are also in the scenario, nicely done by Nekker there, dodging out the route with his Haunting Wave. But we're also in a situation where Falstad hasn't actually been able to use his bribe stacks. He's been bullied by Thrall in this bot lane. Right now, he'd love to be able to push with this and soak XP, but he's getting zoned by 3 heroes. Instead, rotating up with his team to either catch Xaylia or continue to push this mid lane a bit. Does a decent amount of damage there.
That was actually a very cool defense that we just saw for Team EE. They lost walls, but even with that, they lost the top wall. Look at the experience at this point. We're talking about a team that already had a Webweaver wave for them, and they are still slightly, just a tiny bit behind in experience. Very impressive by Team EE. So they will try and complete their own turn-in now, and if they make that work, if Zarmani finally gets that turn-in that he's waiting for so long, then they should be able to get quite a bit of value and maybe get level 10 first. But we are actually seeing Griefers2 doing an excellent job by just preventing that for this long already, thanks to especially Zarya.
Yeah, they're doing a huge amount of harass, huge amount of denying. Where is that Falstad going? You cheeky little chappy, you. He's gone right over to the enemy Bruiser camp, stolen that, and is flying out. Nicely done by Falstad, and he arrived back to his team in time to help defend against the Webweaver wave.
Yeah, red Webweaver wave is there, and they have to first of all retreat and deal with that. That's a bit of a nuisance. The thing is, it's not even supposed to do a massive amount of damage. It will, of course, but it steals it away from the opponent, and that is just like taking one of the tools that they have away from them. The Webweavers are still going to be accompanied, but the waves couldn't be pushed out.
That actually did a huge amount, taking that right then, because he grabbed it as the Webweavers happened, so the Webweavers spawned further back. And because the Webweavers have ticking health, their health doesn't just take damage from heroes, it also goes down over time. This Webweaver in the mid lane is now going to be easier to kill, losing almost a quarter of its health before it even gets to the gate.
Yeah, but at the top lane, we are still seeing that push. By the way, Earthquake has now been picked up. Both of the teams on level 10 abilities. The Zarya also... Oh, we have actually... Look at those talents. We are seeing Falling Sword coming into play. Using that, the Gust immediately also being used to isolate BKB. And guess what? He actually went not for the expulsion zone. We have him straight with a Graviton Surge. Falstad is dead, though. Trying to go for the isolation here. Graviton Surge not able to kill someone just yet. BKB is low, but Sylvanas dies. And Leo plus Shiku are both extremely low on health and might fall. 3 kills already. Zarmani still attempting to go for Zarya. Already Johanna falling up at the top, and the rest of the team is just now collapsing onto Zarya. That's all their gems lost, and that is an entire team wipe.
Yeah, 20 gems on just Shickle alone here. That was devastating. The talents were cool, like you said. The Graviton Surge was nice, but it didn't even kill Muradin after him being in it for the entire duration. They got nothing out of this. And as such, we see EE taking a big lead here. Like, lots of cool moves coming out of Griefers2, but more stable play coming out of EE right now.
If you go for something like that, what they do right now, I feel your coordination has to be a little bit better. This has a huge amount of wombo combo potential. If you get the Graviton Surge in and then you drop the Wailing Arrow on top of it, you also have the Falling Sword coming to play at the same time. You can really do damage, but they didn't really sync the abilities up as much as they probably should have. They were trying to get an isolation kill on Muradin by using Mighty Gust on Falstad and then isolating the Dwarf, but it didn't really work out. As you said, they didn't get the kill, and now they're paying for it. There was a massive amount of resources used, and it didn't accumulate to anything. This was more the problem than anything else, I feel. Now, as you said, they have to face the music. They lost the first fort already. One is falling at the bot lane. I mean, the leading experience is something else at this point.
They do get a second chance, though. All of their heroics came back off cooldown about 10 seconds ago, but right now, they're trying just not to get murdered, and the heroics are whiffed. Nothing lands, and as such, we're going to see ExcellenteEleccion pushing in with their second Web Weaver into the top lane. The last remaining four, the Aegis is dropped onto Johanna. The Gust is used, but he's still rooted. They're trying to turn around and get some damage, but they've blown every heroic, and the fort still dies, and so will several heroes.
Earthquake in, the drill on the ground. There's another kill as Oriel dies. Again, I like the idea. I like the thought process that Griefers2 has there. And you could see the potential. We have Johanna actually activating the Falling Sword just before they're seeing the Graviton Surge activated. But you have to hit it, and Shikhu didn't. And that just used 2 cooldowns without you getting anything out of it. The idea is good, the potential is there, but the execution right now is lacking, and that costs them to fall farther and farther behind as they now have a 3-level disadvantage on this map.
Yeah, exactly like I said, lots of cool moves, not really working as well as they would hope, and as such ExcellenteEleccion, like you said, huge level lead, hugely in control. They are just under halfway towards another set of Web Weavers, and they still have the same amount of gems as Griefers2 do. They can't really do a huge amount on the map right now.
Yeah, and for now we have, when it comes to damage output, Tigers taking a massive rank 1 position here with 48,000 dropped. Sylvanas is on 37k. Falstad is nowhere near that. He doesn't even have half that damage output just now. The build for him is not really working out as intended, but they have 13, and that allows them to go into the Thunderstrike now. So the shields are going to be a bit better for them. Not really your run-of-the-mill Falstad build, though.
Falstad did drop another 2 bribe stacks onto their Bruiser Camp just to make sure that they took it a little bit quicker, and so he get the extra damage. Currently sitting at 30 bonus Lightning Rod damage, and with his level 30 talent, the Thunderstrike, it is going to do a huge amount of damage, but they need to actually engage for that Falstad damage to follow up on in order to get anything. There's the Earthquake, dropped very early this time, disengaged by the Mighty Gust, but they need to do something. They're still behind the talent, level 16 available for EE.
And the push in the mid lane is just continuing. No keep has fallen yet, and that's exactly what Trico needs to do, by the way. Earthquake goes down, use the Mighty Gust, push them away, and then you already have your disengage right there. They will try and see if they can make something happen with their combo again, but Juve needs to stay alive. Again, the Graviton Surge not really doing what they intended. They are really struggling, and now the Skeleton Mages are on the ground. The silence is strong, but he just simply moves back and re-engages.
Yeah, BKB holding the line, staying alive. Now Zomni under pressure though. Finally we're seeing some damage beginning to be dropped here by Griefers2. Cillium on the run finally gets picked off here. And now they want BKB. They pull him back with the Condemn, but Falstad's too low. They don't want to take the risk. And Zalia gives them a grenade for their trouble. How dare they kill Zool? But either way, finally a kill getting taken by Griefers2.
And this is an important one, because it's still a talent disadvantage that they have to deal with here. Again, Graviton Surge not doing anything for them, but they are in a position in which they were able to win a fight even though they had a talent disadvantage, and they are starting to close that gap. It's a slow process, but let's see if they can maybe force fights on even talents at some point in this game again.
Yeah, they're going to try and brace the 16 as quick as possible. They're already pretty much at 15 here, so assuming they can soak, maybe this turning could be enough. Zalia does not want it to happen though. They have huge Nice Storm Bolt there.
Did he just...
He whiffed it. Kraku, though, not getting his turn in, though Xalia was able to deny that, so all but one of them got their gems turned in, but that is good for Griefers2. They can still attempt to gather up what else they need and race their way towards 16, and if they can get a good fight on 16, or at least try and bait out EE, they may be able to get a Web Weaver turn in on equal talents, and that would be their opportunity to try and make a comeback, despite all three forts still being up for ExcellenteEleccion.
We have still, of course, gems on the side of Kraku, but yeah, BKB there with the Stomble attempt against Fire, though, was pretty funny. Kraku...
He had 4 heroes to hit, and he hit 0. That was impressive.
Kraku could go for the turn in and couldn't just complete it, but the potential isn't there for the opponent. But boss attempt at the top, they can do that. They have Earthquake up, they have everything up. I think the only thing that could really ruin them here is a good combo with the Graviton Surge and everything else. That could happen. Gust over there is always an issue, but the turn-in is there, and they disengage. Okay. It is starting to become a bit of a trap, though.
Yeah, they're trying to get it. Oh, the wraparound is perfect. Falstad flies in, thinking he's going to interrupt. Finally, the combo lands! The combo lands, Khaldor! It's gusted out, though. Kraku with the anti-synergy, but it's trying to give them a chance to escape. They will lose Ariel here, but will the rest get out? Kraku on the run. Muradin gets the heavy impact, and Kraku trying to get out of here. Where's the heal? There is no heal. Ariel's dead, but the shield lands, and Yuva with the delay. No! Fairly with the snipe.
Falstad down. I mean, they this time got at least a few of the ults off, but I feel even with Falstad using, even if he doesn't use the Gust here, I don't, like, they didn't just have enough damage to really get to follow that up. At least that's what it seemed like. So right now we have them finally getting a bit of the coordination in, but it didn't really have an effect. Their own Web Weavers, as a result, basically don't do anything. The one saving grace is they have level 16 right now, so they're not out of this yet. They still haven't lost a keep, which is the important part. And now they have 2 levels in which they can start to take fights on even talents and try to make it win.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean by the lack of damage coming in here. They're pretty much relying on Zarya at this point for AoE damage and a bit of Sylvanas too, because Falstad didn't take Q build, he took W build, and that's not AoE damage, that is single target damage. But if they are able to burst a single target, it may still be worth, but so far they haven't achieved that, as the kill count shows, with 2 kills to 9 in favor of ExcellenteEleccion.
Now, we talked at the beginning a bit about the potential even go for an auto attack build, but I actually agree with you a lot here, because if you try to get everything stacked on a Graviton Surge, then it makes a whole lot of sense for you to go simply for Gathering Storm and try to blow the opponent away. Now they're trying to take that fight. This is the one that we've been talking about. They're playing a risky game here because they know what's on stake. So they go for the boss. They have a perfect target. Graviton Surge. Again, we're having everything used here. There is the Earthquake, the kill against Muradin, and this could be the turnaround that they're waiting for. Silence was already in. Once again, Johanna is going into the backline. The boss has already been taken as Harmony is extendingly trying to escape here over and over again. He's so low, he's slow. They're trying to chase him down. The throw falls here. If they get another kill, if the boss gets a stun in anything, would be a huge success for them and help them to push through with the boss at the top lane.
That was a perfect Aegis onto Yuva there by Grand Paqueta, by the support Leo from Korea to protect him from the damage here. Yuva now clearing the lane. They have the boss, but they can't do anything with it. Instead, they're being forced to clear their own lanes as they're pushed up. But that boss will finally get the first fort for Griefers2. But a really nice boss take there. They were able to time that well. And even with the cleanse of Muradin to counter the Mighty Gust, he was still left alone and was still burst down. And could this be the comeback, Khaldor?
I'm not so sure. Like, I really thought they would try and play more aggressive. It's risky, no doubt about that. Going in deep with the boss underneath the fort and trying to force another battle there, even 5 versus 4, might result in you actually being, in you losing heroes. But them just simply moving back onto the lanes and de-pushing them, I'm not sure if that's enough, because that level 20 talent is so close now to EE. And I think this is the biggest problem. Yeah, Johanna had to kind of de-push the mid lane. There was a big camp moving in, but now they find themselves once again far, far behind, and I don't know if they have the time to soak for level 20. There's no keep down. That's the one winning thing. But with level 20 now, I really think it should be easy for EE to push through with a keep, especially since they have a Web Weaver wave if they want it.
And that's what they're going to do. They do get that Web Weaver wave. And that's actually going to deny Falstad a bit. He was rapidly approaching those 2 drive stacks, and he wanted to try and steal that bottom Merc camp, so as such he's going to be down a little bit of extra damage. he would have been able to steal with that wingman talent. So instead, we stuck with what he has, but for now, Griefers2 just hiding in base. They don't have their 20s. They don't want to fight anymore. They've been so aggressive looking for fights this entire time. For now, though, they're going to wait in their base and either get the full wombo combo or just play passive.
This needs to be a keep. This is what EE has to do right now. If this is not a keep, then it would be a massive, massive problem for them. That would be a huge loss. It would basically mean that they wasted the entire lead that they got through those 9-3 kills and the entire pressure that they had. And it should be an easy one, actually. They can't even go for more. Bob and Weave has now been taken too. If they land a good Earthquake with the Earth and Shields right now, they can even get a kill and maybe like push that towards the core. Keep is already down, that's the first one. They want to make that too, of course. At the top lane, defending the Web Weavers, and they are really applying the pressure now. With the bot lane also still pushing in thanks to the wave.
That will be cleared up though thanks to the keep, but top keep will go down. And as such, 2 keeps, 2 lanes worth of catapults are going to be pressuring Griefers2 when they have managed to take a grand total of 1 fort. Their only way to really win this now from a comeback is to win a fight on boss. We need a good old-fashioned throw pit, and no one knows throw pits like Griefers2, like G2. But they still have a very long time to wait for that before the boss comes back, and they have to live that long.
Yeah, the ults are still there. Again, Thrall could really go deep for any of these fights. It, as you said, throw pit or as an alternative, just a team wipe. Some kind of perfect setup and a team wipe. And they have level 20 now, so that gives us the unyielding defender at this point on the side of Zarya. We have more mobility with the Epic Mount, Bolt of the Storm, survivability mostly with Indestructible taken, and also the Shield of Hope. That's not really the talents that you feel are all of a sudden changing the course of the fight. You have more survivability and you might be able to successfully disengage, but it doesn't really add too much that will help you to win the battle itself.
Yeah, it's very much delay tactics to keep the team alive. Yuva just trying to turn in here. He knows everyone is here. He's just trying to bait someone out of position. Muradin creeping forward, trying to make sure he doesn't get picked off here. Gets denied mounting up here. And we're seeing them thinking about it. They have all their heroics. Are they going to want to try and engage this? Huge damage coming in from both sides. There's the Skeletal Mages. That might be the activator here.
Skeletal Mages are on the ground. They're not going for it just yet. Once more, the combo is being looked for. Shihu doesn't find opportunity. Wow, a lot of damage. Zillia with a grenade.
Yeah, the Titan Grenade doing so much work here for this Tychus. Just getting so much damage done. The turn-in has been completed by Griefers2, and as such, they're trying to push in. They want to try and grab some kills before these Web Weavers arrive. Not able to get anything, though. And as such, they're just going to start pressuring. Hopefully, this Web Weaver will clear top lane, so they won't have to worry about the catapults there. Instead, they're going to put their pressure onto mid lane. Yuva taking a huge amount of damage. The Graviton Surge lands on 1, but it's cleansed out. He walks back into it, but the Graviton Surge is over.
Yuva is on the way. Web Weaver comes down now 2. Unstoppable already triggered with the Iron Skin. They're jumping in again. Oh, Kreku is solo, but he gets away as the shield and Ace is used. Zarya is dead though, and Yuva might fall any moment now. His Indestructible should still be able to trigger. False stat dead, taken out, Indestructible triggered. And that does, yeah, that should actually be game right here. They will get Johanna, or will they? She's solo, just a bit of damage, and she's going to be a goner.
Grenade! There it is! Xaylia finally able to get that. Top Web Weaver already dead to catapults, and we're going to see EE push in. They'll get the final kills as well, and that's going to be a full team wipe, and GG in favor of ExcellenteEleccion. They will qualify for tomorrow's games.
Really well done. Great job by them. They take the 2-0 victory. Griefers2 defeated, and therefore victory in the best of 3. Well played. GG, and congratulations to Team EE.